Just got it wrong. Let's see if we can do that again. Climb up that D. Go sharp. C sharp right there. So we're gonna go with the 6, 2, 5, 1. So we're hitting a 4 right there. Glenn Cubbage, how you doing? Coming at you from the Windy City of Chicago. Title of the room today is When You Guys Are Learning Piano. MDR 573. How are you doing today? I believe I can. Title of the room today is Should You Learn on a Piano? An actual piano. See, I'm in my other house here. I'm not in Vegas today. I'm in Chicago. And I'm playing on a piano right now. I'm playing on the piano right now, and it's doing what it does. It's doing what it does. It's out of tune. It's old. And if I open it up, I can tell you exactly when it was made. If you guys come in the room, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and hit that bell notification. But when it comes to learning piano, I also do some, well, not also, but I do work for a company called Doorstep Music. I do work for them. And how you like that? A little bit of classical, and I improv it at the same time. When it comes to learning piano, I guess they set the students up with a teacher, and I go to their house And sometimes there may be a keyboard there, keyboard, clavinova, if you will. I prefer, and I'll tell you why. I prefer if you're learning piano to to get you an actual piano. There's something different when you're bouncing on these strings. Almost the cadence is different. You know, sometimes the cadence is different, the feel is different, the reverberation, if you will, from the hammer striking the. There's a string. Let's see if we can open this thing up here. Wurlitzer, maybe. Hold on for 1 second. I don't have my. There we go. So we're looking in there. Cobwebs. Excuse that. There are these. You know, there are these little. Let me see. I'm trying to get the hammer. There we go. So you have these hammers that actually hit on strings. That actually hit on strings. I was Dallas, Texas. I was out in the Houston area week before last. I was out in the Houston area week before last. And I'm supposed to be driving through the Midwest tomorrow. Can I teach virtual? This is what I have got to say about teaching virtual. I can give you as much as what I know virtually. I know during the COVID era, or during the COVID pandemic, we got into this thing called virtual learning. And thank God that ended. That's all I'm going to say. Thank God that ended, because we had to get what we needed to get to learn virtually. Virtual is pretty good, but it's nothing like a side-by-side teacher. So as I'm playing, keep this in mind. The piano is different than your standard keyboard. You go into a Guitar Center and they do have digital pianos. I'm a fan of the, what do you call that? They have a Yamaha CP88 stage piano. Roland also makes a good brand. You're going to see various keyboards. So get get what you can according to your budget. But when it comes to learning, I'm a fan of actually sitting down at 88 keys, and you have your sustain pedal, your damper pedal, and then you have your soft pedal. You have 3 different pedals. So, you know, that's your sustain pedal. And keep this in mind, I have 1 sustain pedal on my digital piano at home. I play on a Yamaha DGX 660B. I know they have the 670B. Now they have the 660. Well, no, I know I started on the 660B, and I like it for what it does. I'm going to put that out there. I do, however, want to eventually go to a better stage piano. At the time when I bought the piano, it was for $800 some odd dollars. Came with the pedal, came with the seat, what have you, and it does a great job. I still play on it to this day. I have a total of probably over 12 different boards, and they all serve 12 different functions. When it comes to learning, when you're learning the piano, there's something about hitting those chords. Sounds a little bit different than if you were playing on a digital piano. Sounds a little bit different. There's a different connection, and I was gonna do this live on actually connecting with the pieces of music that you play, but there's a different connection. If I play there's there's a different connection when I play it on, and keep this in mind, this isn't tuned, but there's a different feel when you play this song on. I didn't want to go there. I didn't want to go there, but there's a different feel when you actually play on acoustic piano. There's a different connection that you feel with that instrument. It's kind of like there's a different feel when you play on an acoustic guitar versus there's a difference when you play on a. This isn't tuned. Is it tuned? Let's find out. Yeah, it's still kind of tuned. It's still kind of tuned. There's a different feel when you play on an acoustic guitar versus an electric guitar or a bass. They all have a different feeling, and there's all a different connection with that instrument. And that is what I want to instill in people. I have Yamaha 88 keys at home. Okay, Yamaha. What brand of Yamaha is it? We got the real, I can't pronounce the screen name 100%, the Rillo Smod. How you doing? I'm sorry if I just butchered that. Yamaha 88 keys. That's great. That's great. Yamaha makes a good brand. I stand by Yamaha. I should have a Yamaha shirt on, and they should pay me for advertising. But I have keyboards ranging from Casios to Yamahas to Rolands. I'm really a fan of them all. And usually, if you guys are sitting down to learn the piano, I'm gonna ask you what your intent is. Like I sold at the time, I didn't sell it, but I was at the Guitar Center playing, and someone had some man, he was coming in to shop for his wife, and he didn't exactly know what to get her. And I said, hey, what is she looking to do with it? If she's looking more on the creation aspect of it, she likes the different sounds, this is what I suggest. And at that time, it was a Roland Phantom. I think the latest and the newest model that they have out. It's hard to pronounce. Osamu is how you pronounce it. Ah, okay, Osamu. Gotcha. So if I were to sit down and teach anybody, and this is what I gave a live about that, why we don't have any piano stores in the urban areas. It almost made me upset. Okay, let's see if I can land that right. Let's see if I can land that right. There you go. There you go right there. But yeah, you guys can't really see what I'm playing on. But I didn't travel with my board with me this time, but everywhere I go, there's a board. I make sure there's a board somewhere in the vicinity in case I need to let these fingers breathe a little bit. But yeah, if you are starting out playing, I heavily suggest getting you if you're shopping around for a piano, I heavily suggest you learn on an acoustic piano. I know they have great digital pianos, and for the simple reason that it is actually learning on a piano. If you learn on a keyboard, you're actually going to be learning on a keyboard. There are two different feels, two different connections that you have with the instrument. See if I can read anything new. It's out of tune, but I can still play it. So are you available to teach virtual? I would say yeah, I can. I'm never gonna say no, and I'm all for or for people learning. I'm just gonna say it that way. And I guess the virtual ways of learning that they have now are Zoom, and I haven't used Zoom since the end of the pandemic. By the way, for a person alive right now, his 63rd cousin are close. Okay, yeah, that is true. Thomas, thank you for that bit of history. Yeah, you can see when I went up on that crescendo. I'm an intermittent player. I've used Simply Piano for over 2 years to practice. Okay, have you ever sat down? I know this is a dumb question if you're asking for virtual lessons. Um, Intermittent piano. Here's the thing. What genre? What genre are you interested in? What genre? That's a little bit of Michael Jackson right there. Um, Off the Wall, Quincy. I think Quincy Jones. I got to figure out who wrote that. Keep this in mind when we're playing a lot of Michael's music. Michael was the face, so kind of if you guys hear, that's my own interpretation of the song. But we all know Steve Picard from Toto wrote Human Nature. My timing was off. My time was off. Do it again. Now improvise. Are you comfortable though? When you say am I comfortable, are you saying am I comfortable teaching virtual? Just for clarification. Just for clarification. See, now this piece that I'm playing right here is called Arabesque. Arabesque, even though I could play it on the keyboard, there's a different feel as the keys are responding to the touch. Even though this piano is semi-tuned or as tuned as it's gonna get, you see that if I could, hold on for 1 second. Let's see if I could put this right here. There, I don't know how's that gonna hold up. But if I have my keyboard at the other house, there's a it almost feels like I could play it for the speed that it was meant to play. Yeah, the response, and guys, that I'm you've probably seen me go through a couple of them, but yeah, I think I'm okay. Classical and gospel. What are your who are your gospel inspirations? And if you don't mind, I also like to find this out, not to get personal, but what age demographic are you? Because that speaks to the I'm 40, I'm 48 years old. So when we talk about gospel music, I go all the way back to guys like Keith Green, Larnell Harris, Fred Hammond. Before we known him as Fred Hammond, there's a song by this group called Billy and Sarah Gaines, and this is Fred Hammond before Commission days when they was like, "Come on, Fred," and you could hear him doing his bass riffs. So my love for gospel music goes way back, and it's not just gospel. I like country gospel, um, contemporary gospel. I really don't. I really don't really listen to too much gospel now. I kind of am stuck in the past, because a lot of gospel has changed. The gospel has gotten in bed, if you ask me, with some pretty. Yes, teaching. Also, you missed a few keys since I've been here. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Well, I mean that's up to you. I mean, I'm just playing around on an untuned piano, so I'm dealing with what I got, but not bad. And here's the thing: sometimes if I'm missing keys, it's because I'm improvising. I'm improvised. If you're talking about this song, what song was I just playing? See, and here's the thing: that's the intro of the song. But if you found out what I did with the song, and this is what I want to tell all my intermediate players, learn to improvise. So if you also notice that this song is also a song, the intro is called, there's another intro that uses the same song. It's called Dancing in the Moonlight. So sometimes if I want to go here, I'm going there because I'm thinking of dancing in the moonlight, but I'm good enough to catch that. And I'm also good enough to add my own improv to it. So if I come in with let me see, let me see. Now that's the intro. That's not in the song. So all that song that I just did, that was just improvising off the top of my head. That's not in the Elton John song. He keeps it very basic. So if I'm missing keys, it's kind of like because I'm thinking and I'm improvising on the spot saying, hey, where else can I go with this piece? What else does this piece sound like? It's a song in E flat. There are other songs that we can play in E flat. That's my main goal here is if I'm teaching music, I'm like, hey, where else can you go with that song? What else does that song sound like? Honestly, because I don't, how can I put this? Honestly, because you're almost the first person in the wild to ask if I virtually teach, I really don't have a set fee at the moment. I'm just gonna be honest with you. Really don't have a set fee. I would have to be comparable with the fees in the area. I gotta look up somebody else that virtually teaches and say, hey, how much do you charge? But other than that, I'm willing to give knowledge for free. Emder, knowledge is free. Knowledge is free. I can tell you everything I know. I can bounce ideas off your head. When we were working on that human nature, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. That's what Steve Picaro did. Oh, it'd be for your 14-year-old son. Okay. Okay, cool. You're 14. Now here's the thing. Do you do any playing yourself? You said you play intermittent. You're an intermittent player. Is that correct? So if we're looking at that Steve Picaro song, that song is in D. He's going from the 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going from the 4 to the 5. I did something completely different with it. I went from the 4 to the 6, changing the sound of the song up. So usually if I'm teaching music and I'm telling people, I say, hey, what else can you do with the song? What else can you do with the song, and how can you make that song yours? Kind of like what I did with the Your Song by Elton John. I made that song my song, kind of like I did with I did that song, and then I threw an improv into it. Went to a completely different place than that song is supposed to go. Um, so yeah, that's more of what I like to teach if I'm teaching. I'm like, hey, what else can you do with that song? Where are you going with it? Yeah, that's fine that it's played that way. Now we all know this song goes with. We know that song goes there. I went turned it to a completely different song. And take it back to you, Ray. Take it back home. Take it back to the five. So, when it comes to learning the piano, keyboard versus piano, I suggest a acoustic piano. Um, for the price that you can get one for, does it have to be new? Not really. It's just got to be functional. You can find these anywhere at Goodwill stores, Facebook marketplaces. Long as you have, so this kind of upper register, it's kind of out of tune as we hit the top portion of the keys. But all the keys work, and if you could play, you could play. That's all I got to say. Yeah, I like that. I like that. I like that. There's a little bit of Stevie Wonder mixed with some Christopher Cross sailing. But yeah, I'm willing to pour in. 14 years old. Give any advice that I'm willing to give. To give them to that next level. Classical gospel is really good. Classical is where you learn your discipline, and you can do it for bragging rights. Yeah, we sure can. We sure can. Um, if you get a chance, you can reach out to me on. Let me see. You can either message me here or let me see. Let me get you right there. Shoot me. I'm gonna send you my email address. I really can't. Okay, write this down. Okay, that's fine. You're referring your son. Um, Write this email address down. Home, just like a house. HOME, and that's the word A N is in Nancy D. Home and commercial, just like your commercial. Home and Commercial LLC at, I should be able to type on this, Home and Commercial LLC at gmail.com or at gmail.com. And again, I'll repeat that. That's home, just like a house, HOM as in Mary, E, and commercial, LLC. And there's going to be 3 L's in that email address, llc at gmail.com. Reach out to me there. And we'll go ahead and talk further. And I'll be glad to assist where I can. And let me know if you got that. Yeah, that's fine. Let me know if you get. Let me know if you're able to get my email address. Let's go over there completely. It's time for us to start working on that Christmas music. I subbed and liked. Maxine, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Keyboard versus piano. That was the topic. Oh, I'm Emder. You're talking about the Carol of the Bells. I'm gonna tell you something. I know you like gospel. I don't know what our age difference is. They have a song called "Nuck If You Buck," and I gotta share this with you because I was at the gym listening to the "Nuck If You Buck" song, and I said, they had to rip that sample from somewhere. If you listen to the chord progression, the piano progression, get past the song. And I said they had to rip that from somewhere. And guess what? The producer didn't rip it. And I was like, I need to interview that producer. Has a very classical feel. And when you hear songs like that, you've got to dig into, okay, how did you grow up? And I told one pianist today, I said, I'm going to take Carol of the Bells. I'm going to take Carol of the Bells, and I'm going to improv it with the Nuck If You Buck song. I'm going to do it. And I'm going to do it well. I'm going to do it well, and I'm going to astound the, what do you call that? The classical community, because that's what I like to do. I like to take classical pieces, kind of like you guys saw me playing at Erebus, and I mixed it with the you guys saw me take that song, and now I'm hitting the I've got an acoustic piano. It may be the latency. It's not the fact that I'm taking a while to respond, because I've responded to, I would like him to connect with you for a possible lesson. I said yes to that. He plays Not Me. You've got an acute. No, it may be this. They got this thing called latency going on, so I'm responding and playing at the same time. So I apologize on your end if the transmission is kind of delayed, but I'm responding as soon as I'm getting you. I've been responded to Maxine saying that they sub. So my apologies if there's a latency coming through. But yes. I also asked if you got my email address. So that is the third or fourth time that I asked that. So please confirm if you have. And yeah, we can go from there. So I took what you saw right there was I took a classical piece and I completely put that DeBarge in there. Other people may know it as the Tupacs. I'm not mad at you, but that's what I like to do. I like to take classical pieces and improv them, whether it be into contemporary pieces or just something off the top of my head, or just blend songs together. And I believe that within itself is a great skill. It's like, okay, you're looking at a piece of music and saying, what else can I do with this song? What else can we go with? That minuet in G major. Where else can we go with that? So again, put my email address down. I'm gonna repeat it again. That is home and commercial, AND commercial, just like a commercial on television. Home and commercial LLC. So there's 3 L's in there at gmail.com. You can reach out to me, Emder, via email, and we can go from there. And I'm excited for your 14-year-old son. Find out what his goals are and how they feel about playing an instrument. But guys, I'm about 7 minutes over on this live. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and keyboard versus the acoustic piano. Number one, let's remember, go with what you can afford to get. And I'm not saying all these things are unaffordable. They really are. Go with what you can afford to get. If you do go with the keyboard, I suggest a good digital grand. They come in different rankings. If you want an acoustic piano, try Goodwill shops. Try your Goodwill shops first. They're giving them away, or people that just are needing to move the piano. If you have a smaller space, I suggest something that I have here. I believe this is a Wurlitzer. Yes. And I have a piano at the garage at home. This is a Wurlitzer. It sits against the wall. It takes about the same amount of 88 key space as my digital grand, but it is something that you guys can get acclimated with. And that you guys can learn. So hope you learned something today about pianos versus digital keyboards. I can literally talk pianos and keyboards all day. Check out my live yesterday when I was talking about how I couldn't find any piano shops in the urban area of Chicago. I was very upset about that, and I was like, how are we supposed to learn music? How are we supposed to get music to our children? One guy, and I know I'm going off into a rabbit hole, but one guy said one thing, and he said, because the church, back in the day, the church was responsible, if they had the time and availability, for teaching or bringing up the younger crowd of musicians. I was part of a choir myself, Christ Temple Apostolic Faith Church. I can't sing now, but I could tell you how to write a song. And that was a very memorable experience, learning how to sing with the choir. And I'm quite sure if there was somebody there that wanted you on the organ. And keep this in mind, the organ is also different than a piano. It is different from a keyboard itself. They're all different instruments. I'll message you within 30 minutes from now. Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you. And we had a responsibility for teaching that to the next generation. But guys, I'm out of here. Thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, and peace.